started Vandemic Campervans about 2 years ago for a variety of different reasons. One was to tap into the van life community. My partner in crime, Corey, we took our first van trip 3 years ago and took a 2-week, actually it was a 16-day trip from Denver, Colorado out to Northern California down the coast, and it really opened our eyes to what freedom on the road looks like and just a different way of travel where you can go wherever you want, whenever you want, as long as the state allows you to park wherever, which is what Colorado is great for. And in combination with that, my background is in real estate. For the past 10 years, I've flipped a lot of houses, probably over 300 to date, have had my hand in some development projects. And real estate pricing here in Denver, when we moved here a few years ago, was just kind of crazy. We're from the East Coast originally, and the transition here, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense from what I was doing to transition into the real estate out here. And so with that first trip that Corey and I made, we kind of fell in love with the whole idea of van life. You know, we liked to get out in nature, camp, but this brought everything kind of packed in together, and it allowed us to travel with our dog and not have to worry about where our next stay is going to be, and just kind of have the confines. We can go when we want, we can travel whenever we needed to, and then mix in the other half of all this is my brother Dennis, who he's the guy that goes to Hawaii and brings a hammock and sleeps on the beach, and has kind of lived this lifestyle for the past couple years anyway. He was living in his Toyota Tacoma. We kind of convinced him to at least start looking into the van life after we did our trip, and so eventually he did. He built out his first one right in the beginning of COVID, and what he did is he drove down to Florida where our parents are, and him and my father, or I'm sorry, our father, built out that first one for him. And in the meantime, I was looking for space for when he got back, we could hit the ground running, and that's kind of what we did. So we focus on the RAM Promaster. This is our layout here that we're showing you guys today. But really what it means to us, and a lot of what we've learned, is just the freedom piece. For me, the big piece is like time freedom of living life. I'm kind of grew up a little different than the average, you know, go to school, get a good job, work 9 to 5 for 40 years. I always fought that just wasn't me, and so like doing my own thing was always really important to me. In real estate kind of filled that void, and I'll always do real estate, but the vans kind of feeds my soul in a different way, where it's a whole big community that I relate it to people, or relate it to the idea of being on the water, where I feel like everybody's so friendly and, you know, everybody scratches each other's back. It's similar to that, but just a little bit deeper. And like the relationships that people form on the road are pretty awesome. And like a lot of stories that we have from clients is, yeah, they just meet people along the way and they turn into lifelong friends. And the idea of, like, again, coming back to living on your own means and doing what really feeds your soul is really important to us. And then the idea of building community, which we have here, I never realized I was missing that with the real estate piece, is having that connection. And it's not just like we do a build for a client and we never talk to them again. We stay engaged. They send pictures of, you know, where they're going or where they've been, and it's just kind of cool to see how excited they are and really embrace the whole lifestyle. Something else that we've learned along the way, would almost be what we would recommend to somebody who's thinking about getting into van life. Our recommendation would be, rather than just jump right in, I know I talked about that a little bit, is to go rent one first. You're gonna learn so much about what you need versus what you want. And that's something we run through every client with, is the simple exercise of drawing a T on a paper. You've got needs on one side, wants on the other. At first, your needs are going to be laundry list long, and over time they'll shrink up. But the best thing that we could recommend doing is just rent something, because it's not for everybody, and I think that's important to share and actually be upfront with people, because it isn't for everybody. It's for a lot of people, but until you actually get out and explore and get a feel for what you really want in a van, renting is going to be your best option first of all, and then you're going to know what you want and you're going to be able to make a decision much easier and cleaner. For those of you who are thinking of doing a van on yourself, which is an awesome undertaking, Maybe a recommendation would be to, whatever your time expectation is maybe add a little bit of extra time. This is a little bit different than if you've got any handyman or handywoman experience. In a house, everything's nice and square. There's nothing square in a van. There's a lot of weird angles. Everything's curved. Nothing is square. And also, with still kind of in the pandemic, there's still supply chain issues. So realistically, I would give yourself a couple extra months. If you're thinking you could get something done in 3 months, maybe you could, but I think from a time expectation, don't beat yourself up, because it is a lot. It's a lot of work, but it can be very, very, very rewarding. And just keep that in mind. Don't get yourself down. YouTube is a great resource. We can be a good resource. We've got a lot of experience, just even with products, of different products that work really well in here, or even just little tricks of the trade. You feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to help. If you're ever in Denver, swing by, take a peek at us. We'd love to house you, just give you a tour of the shop. And if you want to find us online, we're just at vandemiccampervans.com, and also on Instagram at Vandemic Campervans. Thank you again so much. Look forward to hearing from everybody. Bye.